And welcome to our show today between Salem and South Central Regional Stockyards, because it's going to be one of those days today, isn't it, Daryl?
Well, you know what? We've been needing moisture very bad. We sure have.
We're not going to get a lot of moisture out of this. We're just going to get
across
the wind.
the entire South Central Regional Stockyards area, we've been needing moisture.
No,
We've been needing moisture, water in the ponds. We need creeks and things. Myself, I've got a pasture that I generally would winter cattle in January, particularly in because a little creek would run through there year round, no problem, or especially through the winter, and wouldn't have to cut it, worry about ice. But that little creek's been dry as a bone.
Yeah.
It's probably got a little water in it now, not enough to water cattle in to an extent. But I don't know how much you've heard across the region. We had right at 2 inches at our house last night.
Last night, we had a nice little storm come through last night, yes.
Yep, and I heard different amounts. I heard one person on up around Vienna, close to the stockyards, tell me they got closer to a half inch or better up there. But any amount helped because these ponds were getting dreadfully low, some of them.
Well, thunderstorms usually do leave a little bit more rain, and that's what we had actually come through Salem. So right before midnight, we got a half inch at my house. We got a half inch to about 3/4 of an inch. Didn't get out there this morning and measure it in the dark, obviously, but that's about what it looked like. But I'm sure we got over.
You didn't get out there in the dark and measure the rain stand.
Really, it's hard to see.
You're slipping. Yeah. Well, I had a flashlight.
Yeah, well, I didn't use. I didn't go out. I didn't really. In all honesty, it really wasn't that wet.
I have to give Stan a hard time when I get an opportunity because they don't come up all that often.
But I thought if it thunderstormed last night, there'd be puddles. There really wasn't much puddles.
Well, let me tell you, the ground soaked it up.
But it did, and that's why. But that's why when I came outside, I thought, well, I heard a lot of thunder. I heard some rain, but I thought, we may not have gotten all that much. And I went outside, and I'm sure there's no puddle sitting anywhere. Yeah. So the ground, even on the ground, I think it's the wind, though, of last night actually blew it off of the asphalt, so it kind of blew it apart, so it kind of sucked some of that up, too. So anyway, nonetheless, but yes, I understood anywhere in this area from half inch to 2.5 inches. Yeah, I could have gotten in this area. But
good to get it. And it's and now it's going to get cold. Going to get real cold.
Well, you're going to get a little bit more rain, probably another half inch today, and it's going to be more one of those little soaker rains.
Yep, that'd be fine.
It's going to come in, but then the winds and everything changes, and that ground's going to take a freezing, and it will, especially this next few days. It's going to get bitterly hard cold.
Well, we've got we didn't have, I tell you, with the weather like it was, we weren't encouraging people to bring cattle up to the sale this week. You can't in good conscience encourage people to bring cattle to the sale when you know our cattle, by and large, our feeder cattle, our highest dollar cattle, they're going to go north and west when we have a sale. That's just the way it is, and really across the state. And the weather north and west of us was not very conducive to moving cattle, and the people up in that country weren't wanting to even try to get cattle really very much. So we had a pretty good sale lined up for this previous week, but we encourage folks that could hold off, and we are looking for a very good run of cattle this coming week, though, with weather permitting. But the cold, actually, it'll almost be, with the moisture and everything we've had, the cold will almost be a blessing in a way, because it's I got a feeling the ground's going to be pretty firm and hard Monday and Tuesday, where we can get trucks in and trailers out. And the cold's not bad as far as for the hauling cattle and for the having cattle at the yards. They're fine, and getting them to the lots, and it sounds like things will be in good shape. So at South Central Regional Stockyards, we are looking for an excellent run of cattle from some of our area's top producers. Got some really good yearlings lined up. So we're just literally looking forward to a good sale this coming week. So anyway, this past week wasn't a whole lot happening as far as in the market. We had a very good cow and bull sale. And but the slaughter cows and bulls, they kind of go a different direction, and it's not much problem there going ahead and moving those. But overall, the market looks really very good, and is trending up. Here just a short time back, we'd lost a good bit of ground on these feeder cattle prices. Still, we're selling cattle at unheard of prices compared to years before.
Sure.
But the futures market, the feeder cattle futures, we had gotten down to around $2.10, $2.10, $2.12. A pound, but here in recent weeks, that futures market has picked back up, and actually just yesterday it was up about another buck and a half, and so we're back up in that 226, 227 range. for January futures. You go on out to the to the out months. Why we're looking even going on out to May. The futures are sitting there at around 237, and you go on out a little further into next fall, or this coming fall, I say. Out to August and September, and you're looking at 252 to 258 on these feeder cattle futures. And feeder futures do kind of drive it. The cash market drives the futures,
Sure.
but then the futures also will drive the cash market. So it's kind of a back and forth. And the futures market sometimes does some unrealistic moves on its own, which gets into a whole nother.
It's the future, Darryl.
It's a whole nother discussion that we're.
And that's something I've never truly understood, all the factors that are involved in a futures market. I know people tell me projected weather, grain, other weather issues that could occur, what kind of availability, how many calves have come from the previous years, and what they normally expect. Was there a bumper sale the previous year? I mean, there's a whole bunch of factors going in. And I sat there and I remember looking at some commodity markets at one time. I said, how the heck would they even get those numbers to project 4 months, 6 months, 8 months, 12 months in the future? You have no idea what's going to happen, but that's why they call it an investment. You don't know what's going to happen, and you can make a killing, and you can also lose your shirt.
Well, it's reactive. It's a very reactive things to things that may or may not really have a legitimate impact on what's going on. And it's just like the stock market, and the stock market reacts, up and down, plus and minus, and then it has time to digest what the news it was reacting to, and then it corrects the other way. So, but at any rate, it is always reacting to numbers and different things. We had numbers come out, reports as far as cattle on feed that got put on feed here back in the late summer and in the fall that were higher than what had been expected. So then things reacted negatively to that on the long term. And there's some numbers things to work through as far as cattle in the lots. But we're looking for pretty soon a USDA January 1st cattle inventory report to come out later this month. And that's the number of total cows, calves, and everything on farms and ranches, which that's kind of an interesting deal because, quite frankly, I know a lot of cattle people, and I don't know anybody that was ever asked how many cows, calves they have. And of course, the flip of that is I'm not sure how many people would give them an honest answer anyway. When the government calls, wants information, most people aren't all that.
Well, they're here to help you.
Of course they are. So I don't know, but at any rate, it is an interesting thing to see because they do get some numbers from that and you get kind of a picture of what's going on. We know this past year we've culled pretty heavily on the cow end of the cow herd, and because of drought and various factors. And be quite honest, even with these prices that they're bringing, when you factor in what the cost of production is versus how much it's gone up, that profitability really isn't up there really hardly enough yet to really spur large expansion in inventory and things. So, and when you look at the numbers of heifers going in the lots and things, and it's pretty obvious that expansion on the heifer side and on the cow side hasn't really taken place yet, and probably quite the opposite. We probably reduced the cow herd even more this year from what it was before, simply for one thing because of drought. We know this past year we sent a lot of cows to slaughter that were bred that in an ordinary year without the drought would have probably been going back home somewhere or staying home and having calves. So we look for that report. I'm interested to see in what that report comes out to be. We do expect it to be down, and which bodes well for feeder prices for the next few years. It's going to be a good time to be in the cattle business, I believe. So anyway, like I said, we had a very short sale this week, but even with that, slaughtered cows and bulls, those big old weigh cows are still going to be up there mostly in the 80s and the 90s. Those slaughter bulls up there 90s to $1 plus. But again, we're lining up for a very good sale this week and in the coming sales here. We'll have several really good sales coming up here through January, February. It'll slack off a little bit as we kind of run out of the yearling type cattle and start gearing up to start selling fall calves and things, which some of them will be selling probably a little earlier than usual simply because the price is going to be very attractive and draw some. But we are lining up for a very good sale this week, and I may have to cut this short. I got a phone call a little bit ago. I'm going to probably have to leave here pretty soon to go check on something. But we are looking for a very good sale this next week up at South Central Regional Stockyards. And if anybody's interested in moving some cattle, please give us a call. Call the barn at 573-422-3305. Ask for Dave Ross or Bill Patton, and that's the owners of the barn, and they'll get back to you. and or give me a call anytime at 573-308-5415. And if I don't pick it up, if you leave me a message, I'll get back to you, and we'd be happy to come and visit with you about what you've got or what you're thinking about doing, and what your marketing opportunities are, and we'll give you an honest answer as to what we think the best thing would be to do as far as for you to try to make the most money possible on the cattle that you're dealing with on your herd.
Absolutely. And I only had really one question to kind of talk with you about, and especially for those people who are looking to get into the cattle market about this kind of weather. When you start to see these temperatures plummet 35 degrees or 40 degrees in a day, and then also the wind, and then making sure that everything's going to freeze and stuff. How do you take care of your cattle the proper way to make sure you don't want him to get sick and things of that nature? There's ways that you can do it, and plus you got to make sure they have water.
Right, that's the main thing, And in our country down here, most of the cattle, they're out where we've got lots of good shelter and things for cattle. And but as you said, there one of the keys there is keeping good water availability. Cattle have to have water, and you can haul feed to cattle, and that's not really all that difficult. But boy, hauling water and keeping it in front of them can be the challenge. So I'd advise folks to kind of double check their waterers or their water supply right now, because it's going to be pretty hard to do about Sunday, Monday, and Tuesday mornings. When you get down there around zero, it's a challenge. Now we're very fortunate. I mean, we'll have cattle at the barn, and we got a lot of pens that are undercover with good heated waterers and things, and a good hay supply, and keep them fed. So. And that is one thing I think buyers have always been very happy on, how well we can take care of their cattle even after the sale, if it's a few hours or a day or so before they can get trucking lined up and get them out. I've heard buyers mention that before. So, but yeah, this is a challenging time of year for the people with cattle, and always is. Yeah. And but it's winter. It's January in Missouri.
Sure.
And somebody said, "Boy, what do you think about this cold we got coming?" And I wasn't really trying to be a smart aleck, but I said, "Well, if it was July, I'd be pretty worried." But it's January here in Dade County, and
you're going to get a blast.
And somewhere along the line, we always do. But like I say, we're pretty fortunate here. A lot of folks have put in some automatic freeze-proof waterers and things like that, so we're very fortunate there. And there's been a lot of good ponds built. But boy, a lot of ponds got really low.
That's what I was going to say. Sure. And that was my next point, because a lot of ponds are down, and so where you actually would go in before, break that ice open and open it up and have an area where they can get some water. Yep. That area may already be dried up. Yeah, that you used to go to. Well, so you're getting into a little tighter and smaller area of the pond, where after the fall turnover, Daryl, it may not be very good water.
Right. A lot of these ponds, Coles is going to get. A lot of these ponds were going to just about freeze dry, and the water that was in them really wasn't very good if there's very many cattle going to them. So it's always a challenge. But most people in our area are generally pretty well prepared to meet that challenge on the water side of it. So anyway, that's the main things I wanted to hit. Like I said, we had a pretty short sale this past week, but again, we had a real good cow and bull sale. Several nice bunches of cows, and a lot of folks culling some cows again. Probably culling a little deeper than they would have ordinarily. But the weigh cow market has been extremely good, and that's attracted people to go ahead and cull a little deeper than they might otherwise. A cow that's questionable, a cow's got a bad disposition, good time to give her a ride and give her that last ride. So, and same way with bulls. A lot of them big old bulls. You can get a couple of $1,000s out of a big old bull. It's a good time to move them bulls that are questionable and invest in some younger, better breeding stock. So, at any rate, that's kind of where we're at right now. In a couple of weeks when we're back, I'll have some more to report on some good sales, and I think I'll have some outstanding prices to report. And again, we've got an awful good sale lined up for this week. If anybody's thinking about moving some yearlings and get them out, I think the ground will be where we can get cattle. I don't think we're looking at a whole lot of snow moving in with this deal, from what I've heard. But
maybe a little bit more Sunday, but and that one's still questionable, because most of that's going to be south of us. Yeah. Depends on how far north it comes. So if it comes far enough north, we could see 2 to 4 inches. Right now, it looks like we're going to get dusting to maybe an inch if we get that. So, so it's still up in the air, Daryl. It's like weather, man. You can't predict anything.
They can get all the better technology and everything in the world, and still I don't know that we can predict weather much better than we could 30, 40 years ago.
And sometimes I think the Farmer's Almanac is just about as good as your weather service, with all these different radars and all these different formulas and all these different types of models
Yeah.
that they have running, and then when they get right down to it, they still have no clue what's going
Well,
on.
And there are so many variables, and
Sure,
it can move and be a little bit further south than anticipated or north. So I-44 always seems to be the definitive line. I'm just glad I don't live north of I-44. It always seems like it's
Well,
always going to do
here's-
something worse north
when
of
things come out of
I-44.
Southwest, I-44 is going to follow that track.
Yeah.
And and people should understand too, weather follows water and heat. So concrete highway like that in the middle of nothing but green is going to be your hot spot. So it's going to follow 44, and then of course your rivers. A lot of the rivers that we have in our area, there, you know how much they wind. The weather's not going to wind with it, so it's just going to kind of continue to hover near where those areas of water are because it's cooler. So in the summertime, it's near there. In the wintertime, it's near the heat. So you can kind of figure out which way it's going to go. Then when you get up into bigger cities, of course, a lot of times that heat out of that concrete and asphalt keeps snow from coming down, and it also evaporates rain before it ever gets to the ground.
Yeah. Well, the message, the main message we have here for today, though, is while the weather may be cooling down, the cattle market's heating up.
There you go, buddy.
And that's good news to report, isn't it?
It sure is, especially in a new year.
Yep.
So
all across our South Central Regional Stockyards area, we've got a lot of great, fantastic producers that are doing an excellent job, and there's several that have got some feeders and yearlings that are going to be looking to move. They're going to be some excellent. If somebody's looking for some heifers and things for replacements, we'll have some excellent replacement heifer prospects coming up in these sales as well.
Very good.
So excellent genetics, quality health genetics is a great combination.
fantastic.
Yeah.
Sounds good, my friend.
Yep.
I know you need to run, so do you have anything you want to finish up with?
Nope,
or-
we'll be back here in what would it
couple of
be?
weeks.
Somewhere around the 26th. Does that
sir.
sound right?
That sounds correct.
And we'll update some more. But until then, and like I said, if somebody has any question or thinking about moving some cattle, and need to line up some trucking or want us to come and take a look at what's going on, like I said, give the barn a call at 573-422-3305. Ask for Dave Ross or Bill Patton, or give me a call anytime at 573-308-5415, and we'll do everything we can to get with you and take care of you.
As always, Daryl, we do appreciate you coming in and giving us a report from the South Central Regional Stockyards, and look forward to seeing you in a couple of weeks.
All right, well, we'll be back then, and until then, everybody watch the weather, watch the roads. The roads could get pretty hazardous pretty quickly when these temperatures start dropping with the moisture
It's
on them.
flash freezing. We don't get a lot of
Yeah.
flash freezing. When it does happen, it can go from a wet road to a slick road with black ice in a heartbeat.
Right. Well, I was coming home Tuesday from down in the Mountain Grove area, and the roads got very slick out my way real fast late that afternoon. But with the weather, snow coming down. But at any rate, we'll be back in a couple of weeks, and until then, I do hope everyone will be safe, healthy, and God bless each and every one.